Got that boy Young Don out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Growing up with divorced parents be like, Young Don is a goat. Alright. Probably one of my favorite animators, honestly. He be having some lit videos, so definitely gotta check this out.
This one time, during lunch, he came up to me and said that one day he was gonna marry my mommy. So I punched him in the stomach.
That boy got straight to action, bro. He said no hesitation. He said, "You talking about my mom's? I'm giving you the fade." Oh God. Yo.
The only memories I have
Hey,
of my parents
appreciate you
living
for sending me
together
that.
is of them fighting with each other. I have one vague memory from when I was really little of my dad kissing my mom on the cheek as she was cooking in the kitchen. And that's pretty much the only memory I have of my parents
Gone
looking
for real.
like they
My cousin
ever
left.
really loved each other. Which is unfortunate because my mom has a lot of pictures from when they were younger, before I was born, and you could see that once upon a time, they were in love. I believe I was about 4 years old when they got divorced, and it took me a long time to understand what that even meant. It made me very confused as a child about love, family, and marriage. I remember being angry and sad
Yeah,
a
it be like
lot
that.
as a kid, and not really knowing why I felt that way or who I was upset with. I remember when I got a little older, but still pretty young, like around 6 or 7 years old, if I had to guess. I remember spending Saturdays with my dad, and as he was bringing
You
me
want to make
back to my
chicken
mom's
dinosaurs?
house
Go
at the end
ahead,
of the
boy.
day, I remember trying to convince him to come back home and make up with my mom and be one big happy family again. Of course, that never happened. You know, my dad would always say, "Son, when you get older, you'll understand."
There's some hard words to take as a kid, man. For real, for real. There's some hard words to take as a kid.
And he was right, you know, because as you get older, you understand that we are all deeply flawed people.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, and no matter
See,
how,
look at it, man. Look. See, I'm trying to tell y'all, Don already here dropping knowledge for us, man.
how strong your dad seems, he's just a man. And your beautiful mother, well, she's just a woman. And sometimes men and women fall in love, they get married, have kids, and then they break up.
Facts.
My mom was really beautiful
What's up?
when she was young. Not to say she's not pretty now if she's watching, but when she was young, she got scouted to participate in Miss Jamaica. And I mentioned that because I can remember being in like the second grade, and I had this light-skinned classmate named Matthew, you know, fat boy.
Matthew.
And anytime my mom came to the school, he would always mention how pretty my mom was. And that really used to bother me. This
What
one
bot?
time during lunch, he came up to me and said that one day he was gonna marry my mommy. So I punched him in the stomach. It wasn't a fight. He never touched me because I punched him in the stomach like 3 times and he fell to the ground. And I told him, never say that ever again. And I didn't really get into fights in school as a kid, but I remember getting so angry when he said that because in my head,
Oh, yeah.
my mom
They do be weird.
belonged to my dad. And of course, I knew that this little kid could never marry my mom, but
I will.
I think it struck such a chord because even at that age, I understood that my mom was now single. So
Yeah,
technically,
he was
a
trying to
man
protect
that
my
was not my
dude.
father could marry her. If they were still married, this kid could never say something like that. So indirectly, it was like he was making fun of the fact that my parents were divorced. At least that's the best rationalization I can come up with now for why I
Yeah.
got so angry at this other kid for saying what he said in the second grade. I really loved my dad growing up. You know, usually you hear that boys who grow up being raised mostly by their mothers become mama's boys. And I guess that's true for me to an extent, but
Mhm.
I really loved my dad. He was my favorite person growing up. He was the coolest, strongest guy in the world, tall, muscular, and women love my father. Everywhere he went, he was always very popular with the ladies, especially at work. And I know that because my dad would take me to work with him sometimes. Actually, I would guilt my dad into taking me to work with him. When I was really little, my
Kids out here guilt tripping their parents. That's crazy.
dad would pick me up from school and take me home. And as we pulled into the driveway of my mom's house, I would just start crying. I would cry hard, like bawling, bro, like I was dying. I would tell him I'm not getting out of the car and I don't want him to leave. So then he would ask me if I wanted to go back to work with him. And of course, I said yes. He worked at a
Yes,
big
sir.
bank
He said,
in
"Gotta
downtown
finesse.
Kingston,
You gotta
and
finesse
he would
his
take me
way."
back to the bank and sit me in his cubicle, and I would sit at his desk and draw on printer paper for hours. In fact,
Hey.
that's actually how I began to draw, and where people started to recognize that your boy had a little talent. You feel me? He would hang my
Yeah.
drawings up in his cubicle, and his coworkers would come around and compliment me on my drawing. So it was very encouraging. But eventually, we would have to go home for real. And when he would drop me off the second time, I would try to do the whole crime thing again to make him stay, but
It
it
ain't
never
work.
worked.
Nah.
Because where I lived wasn't my dad's home anymore. Even though my dad was in my life, my mom still had to pull a lot of the weight financially to take care of me and my little sister. So she worked
You got a song
a
suggestion?
lot,
That's a bet.
and
All right,
she
give me a
often
second.
worked late into the night. And I remember being very worried most nights.
This is how it be, man. You be sad, like whenever your parents split, you barely see both of them, man, because they be working their booties off for real, for real.
As I waited
Gotta
for my mom to
appreciate it
come home,
sometimes.
because Jamaica is a very dangerous place, especially
know
for young
the
women. Every night
coworker.
on the news, it would be some picture of a young lady who was kidnapped and
Yeah, low
never
key.
seen again. So I would always
Low
worry
key.
that the night would
Look,
come when
they
my
just
mom
have to be nice.
wouldn't come home. But thankfully, she always did. I remember I went through this phase where I would
Toggle.
write little notes to my mom saying things like, I love you and I missed you, and then I would take the note and fold it into a paper plane. And then when my mom came home, I would fly it at her as she walked through the door. But a lot of times, she was so tired after working all day at the bank that she wouldn't even notice. And the few times that she did, she wouldn't know to
All right,
unfold
sounds
the plane and
good.
discover
I'll
the
check that
secret
one out.
message.
I'll
So
go ahead and pin the comment.
eventually, I stopped doing it because I thought I was just annoying her more than anything. She didn't understand what I was doing. In fact, I don't think I understood what I was doing. My mom always tried her best. She's a great mom. Eventually, my dad got a new family, and sometimes I'd go over there. And I remember thinking that it was interesting that I now had a little brother and sister from someone that wasn't my mom. I remember being jealous of them because they got to live with my dad. And I think because of that,
Why not?
I was never able to really connect with them. To this day, we
Yeah.
aren't very close, you know? I'm not sure how old they are or what day their birthday falls on, even though my dad has told me a dozen times. And a part of me feels guilty about that because I am technically their big brother, you know? And look, life is messy.
Yeah, it
Both
get
my
like
parents
that
have
for real,
half
for real,
brothers
bruh.
and half sisters, and they seem to be able to get along and, you know, be loving and all of that. So even though I don't feel like I have a duty to be this loving and involved big brother, a part of me does feel bad for not trying more, but not enough to try more. The way I look at it is, my dad is my dad, and I love my dad a lot, but
Facts.
he's made certain choices, and those weren't my choices. So it just is what it is, if that makes sense. Truth
Yeah.
be told, I think he's given up on wanting me to be more involved in their lives, you know, because if it hasn't happened yet, it's probably not going to happen. And I think he gets it, you know, because he gets me. And, you know, I know he loves me. You know, life's just messy, man. Eventually, my mom did remarry. So I have a stepdad. And my stepdad is the best kind of stepdad because he's never tried to be my father because I have a father. So he's just always done what he's supposed to do, which is take care of my mom. And I can
Facts.
tell that he really loves my mom a lot.
See, this is how it's supposed to be. If any of you guys ever get step parents, bro, this is literally how it's supposed to be. This man ain't supposed to be your dad. You already got one of those.
You can see it. And my mom respects him as a man, which
I don't know
I'm
who dislikes
really
it, but
happy
we don't
about,
care.
because based on what I've seen, I feel like when a lot
7
of women
versus 1 is a
remarry
dub
after they
anytime.
have kids, it's usually to a man that can simply contribute, you know, put food on the table. But you can see that she doesn't quite respect him the way she respected the father of her children, not allowing him to take the lead, and she ends up wearing the pants and calling the shots. But that isn't the case with my stepdad. And I think that's because my stepdad is in a lot of ways similar to my real dad, you know,
Ah,
alpha
he
male,
did.
ambitious, tall, strong, but unlike my dad, my mom met him when he was already in his 40s, you know, already had a wife and kids in the past. So they were just looking for someone to marry, someone to
Yeah.
love.
I
And
appreciate it,
no
Taco
one's
Speed.
perfect,
Much love.
but I'm glad that they're together. Also,
real.
he gave me another little brother, Micah. And although Micah is technically my half brother as well, as far as I'm concerned, that dude is 100% my little brother. Anything this kid asks me for, I get it for him because I love him so much. My only
It be like this, man.
regret is that I'm not there physically to be his big brother because he still lives in Jamaica. I think the reason why I connect with him so much and care so deeply about him is because we came from the same place, you know? My mom,
Same
growing
Ma
up with
Dukes,
divorced
yeah.
parents does come with its perks, though. At least in my case, you know, 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases,
Yeah,
so twice
yeah.
as many presents, you know?
Yeah.
Pops had to make up for not being able to live with me somehow, and although new PlayStation games don't quite
Look at them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, right here, these are some of the best games right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Top notch, top tier, untouchable games right here. God of Wars, facts.
replace being able to live with your father, it's better than nothing. And that's
Got all the Batman gear.
not
That
to
man
say my
going
dad
crazy.
hasn't taught me a lot of valuable things. The most valuable thing he's taught me is how to be smooth. You know, my
Gotta
dad
be
is
smooth.
one smooth guy. It's really a double-edged sword when you think about it, because being that smooth is probably how he made my mom fall so in love with him,
Hey, your dad is a finesser.
thus resulting in my birth.
Bro, Nightbag
But
going crazy
it's
after being
also
quarantined
probably the
for real, huh?
reason their marriage
Can
didn't
you request
work out.
something? Yeah, I got you
because
after I
when you're
check out
that
Toggle's
smooth,
video.
women notice. Like I said, the ladies love my dad. He also gave me his smile and his jeans, you know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
without
sir.
those 2 things, I wouldn't have half as many stories about girls as I do.
Yes,
I
sir.
honestly wouldn't change
That boy Don was smooth.
anything about my life.
He said I learned
or
from my
the way I
pops.
grew up, because I love the person that I am today.
Super
even though I'm
Saiyan
painfully aware
Don. That was
of all of
clean,
my
man.
imperfections and flaws. And trust me,
Yes, sir.
there are a lot, but still,
Man,
I
y'all
love
gotta
myself.
look, guys.
I
Y'all
mean,
gotta check out these
I got
story
it tatted on
times.
my wrist 3 years ago for a reason. Still, I would say that I don't want the same for my kids. You know, I want my kids to grow up with both of their parents in the same house. Little boys and little girls need their fathers. I believe that boys need a strong masculine figure in the house,
They do.
especially while they're still very young.
They
And
do.
girls need a loving and attentive father, so they don't have to go out and seek that attention from selfish men. Moral of the story.
Yeah, hey. Speaking facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? The facts is as hard as the table, bro. For real.
Life is
Don,
messy.
bro,
And
he
for
a
the most
true
part,
he a true YouTuber, man.
Everyone is
I love
doing
him,
the
bro.
best they can.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, mama, I know I don't call enough. I've been losing
I
track of
love
time.
it, man. Don, bro, this man out here be speaking facts for real, for real. You gotta love it, bro. You got to love it, bro. Got to love it. All right, let me go on and check out this song real